Do you understand it would have been a difficult internal discussion with himself to come to that realisation?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, look, Checo, he's been a fantastic member of this team. It's been a tough year for him, but he's a great person, and of course played such a key role in 21 Drivers' Championship, 22 and 23 Constructors. He was second in the Drivers' World Championship last year. He's won 5 Grand Prix in our cars. But he reflected after the season, and we sat down and discussed it last week about what are the next steps, and he's decided that he's going to take a bit of time out. So we're sad to see him leave the team, but obviously it's time for him to spend with his young family as well and reflect on what he wants to do for the future.
Yeah, you talked a bit about giving him the longer contract, which maybe now seems a decision you might question yourself, but was the intention in doing that to try and inflate his own self-confidence at what was a difficult time?
Yes, of course. I mean, at the time we signed it, he'd had 4 podiums in 5 races, so it was a logical extension just to remove speculation, of which there was already too much around the team. So, and of course, any contract has certain performance clauses and criteria within it. So, it didn't make any difference to this decision of Sergio's to step away and take a sabbatical.
Yeah. What do you think happened to him, Dan? Has he explained to you where he lost his way and how? Does he have a proper grip on it?
I think that's the thing. I think that he's not really quite sure. Of course, the car was it became more narrow in its performance window, and he struggled with that compared to Max. But obviously, such an enormous gulf in points difference between the two drivers. He was struggling with that, and that of course then puts more pressure on him. And the harder you try, sometimes the slower you go. And it became almost like a vicious circle for him. So there were flashes of old form in Azerbaijan, but unfortunately that didn't translate into points. So it's been a hugely frustrating campaign for him. And of course that's hurt us quite badly in the Constructors' Championship.
You have moved drivers around before. Pierre Gasly went back and rebuilt in VCAR. Was there any discussion about doing that with Checo, or would that have been inappropriate given his experience and age and what he's achieved?
I think at the stage that Checo's at in his career, that wouldn't really have been an option for him. It was nothing that we really ever discussed, or we didn't discuss or even talk about. So he's come to this decision now, and obviously we support it fully.
The announcement doesn't specify who's going to partner Max next year. Have you made the decision already? Do you have all the criteria in front of you?
We have all of the information that we need. Essentially, it'll be a choice between Yuki and Liam, and both have got strong credentials. And I think we tested Yuki recently at the TAR test in Abu Dhabi for a chance for him to work with the engineering team. Liam has done a lot of testing with us behind the scenes this year as well, and has driven very well in the 6 or 7 races that he's had. So we have all the information. We're just looking at and considering all of that, speaking with the engineering team as well, and we'll come to a conclusion in the coming days.
Okay. So it will be a driving decision. Can I at least ask that question? Yuki's affiliations to Honda or whatever, looking forward, would not stand in the way of him possibly getting that?
Look, the most important thing for us next year in what will be arguably the tightest season in Formula One for many, many years is to make sure that we have 2 drivers that are performing as closely as possible against. We're going to have a Hamilton-Leclerc lineup next year. We've already seen Norris-Piastri, what that is capable of, and of course, George Russell with another newcomer in Antonelli. So it's going to be very tight next year, and so the decisions that we'll make will have that in mind. What is the best lineup that we can field at Oracle Rebel Racing?
Yeah, I can see all the comments saying, "Why didn't you sign Carlos Sainz when he was available, Christian?" I mean, do you regret that now?
Look, I think Carlos is a great driver, and we've seen that obviously this year. It's sometimes You've got to look at all the various criteria and dynamics. And at the point that we extended Checo's contract, you have to remember that he was second in the World Championship and finishing on podiums in the first 4 out of 5 races.
Ultimately, just to put a full stop on this, do you feel you should have won the Constructors in 2024 and that's why this change has happened?
Look, I think there's shoulda, coulda, woulda. When you look back, there's always hindsight. I think McLaren did a great job. At the end of the day, we won more races. We won 9 races. We had the most poles. We won 4 sprint races, which is more than any other team, and we won the Drivers' Championship with 2 races to go. So unfortunately, we had a 280-point deficit between our drivers, and of course that became quite expensive in terms of the Constructors' Championship.